So last time we started with our classes. We created the player class, and now we're going to create the model class. Let's take a look at what we got here so far. So we got the player class. We moved the weapon into the player and created some functions for choosing weapon and scoring. And then we have some variables that hold that data for our player. In the constructor for the player, we had the name and then the computer opponent. And yeah, that's about it. So let's go ahead and start creating our model. So let's start by let's see here, add new file. What are we going to call it? Well, let's call it RPS for rock, paper, scissors model. That looks good. It created this namespace for us again, and we're going to get rid of that because we don't really need it. Not now. We'll talk about namespaces in a bit. So here is our rock, paper, scissors model constructor. And let's see, what should be the first thing we should do here? Well, number one, we already mentioned before that we're going to put the win table into model. So that being the case, we can also grab from our program the win state. And let's move that into our model. That's a good place to put it. All right, so now we have a bunch of issues here, so let's go ahead and correct those right away. We'll just need to do RPS model dot win state. Let's back up a second. We could correct this now, but we already know we're going to be bringing this in, so let's just go ahead and bring the win state in already. So we're going to make it a field, and it doesn't have to be static, but what we should make it is private, because we're only going to be using it internally. Now, the win table result, that is also something we can move in there. That's going to work out pretty well. All right, and then here you can see win table result. So we're just going to need to create an instance of our RPS model class. So let's create that up here. We're going to make it static so that the main method will have access to it. RPS model, we'll call it model, equals new RPS model. There. And then here, model dot win table result. So, and then here in the win state, we can do this as well. But what we want to do is RPS model, yeah, like that. RPS model, there. And let's just do the last one. Nice. All right, let's go ahead and play this, make sure it runs, see if we have any errors. And we do have an error. This is fantastic. Okay, it says static member RPS model win table result. Player weapon cannot, oh my gosh, be accessed with an instance reference. All right, so I can't really see what it's saying here. Let me hover over it. Static member RPS model dot win table result cannot be accessed with an instance reference. Qualify it with a static with a type name instead. Oh, okay, here's the problem. I accidentally left the static on when I copied that over. Yeah, we don't want to do that. Let's see what this says. An object reference is required to access non-static members. Okay, let's just build it and see. Yeah, we're good there. All right, great. Let's go ahead and run it again. Good. Let's see here. 2. Let's draw. 1. I win. 2. Let's draw. 1. I lost. Oh. Awesome. Okay. All right, great. So now we have that part done. Let's see what else can we move over to the model. One thing I want to do is I would like to move the players over there. So right now we have a couple players here, but I would like the players to be, they're in my opinion, they're part of the data. So why don't we move them over here? But I want to do something a little bit different. Let's create it so that we can add players. So I'm going to create a function here in RPS model. Public void add new player, and we're going to give it some arguments. The first thing is going to be what the player's name is, and we'll be using that to create the player. We'll give it to the player for that name. And then also let's also do the computer opponent, and we'll make this a optional argument like we did with the player. And then we're going to need something to hold our players. So let's use an array. Specifically, let's use a type that is in the using system.collections.generic. And what we're going to use is going to be a list. So we're going to create a private list, and we're going to be using a generic here. I'm going to be explaining that a little bit later and how that works. But basically what this does is this defines what type of object will be inside of this list. So basically what we're doing is we're saying, okay, we're going to create a list, and in these carets, we're going to basically say it's going to be of type player. We'll call it players. We'll do new list player. There. Great. And then here in our add new player, we'll just do players.add. And then we'll create, we'll do a new player, pass in the player name and the computer opponent. All right, great. So now we have a list with our players, and we're going to create the add new player. Now we're going to have to be able to get access to our players. So let's create something called like get player. So public, we're going to return a player, get player, and let's find the player by its name. Okay, so let's see here. So the way that we're going to find it, there's a couple ways we can do this. I think the easiest way, I think, is just to iterate over the players. We're going to use a looping structure called for each. So for each basically allows us to, we can iterate over the list like this. This is pretty cool. So we know that it holds players. So we'll define, we're going to say this is going to be of type player, in players. So here is our players field, and we're going to be basically for each player in the players, we're going to have that player. And then what we can do is if name dot equals player.name, we know we have our player, and now we can return that player. So we found it based on the name. Because we're returning a player, if the player doesn't exist by that name, we're going to have to return something. So I like to return null. There are better ways of defensively programming, but we're not going to get into that right now. But we're just going to return null, because otherwise, if we don't do that, let me just show you what happens. It's going to say not all code paths return a value. So we have to return some type of value. So return null. Great. All right. Let's see here. Now, what else can we do here? So we got the players. Let's go ahead and update our game here. We've got our model. Let's go ahead and create some new players here. We can remove these guys, and we're going to put them right here. So let's do model.add new player, name you, and model.add new player computer. And this one is a computer opponent. All right. Now that we have that, we're going to have to replace these computer players that we removed. And the way that we're going to do that is we're going to do model.getPlayer computer. Now, one thing, if I make a spelling mistake here, that's going to suck. So let's define some variables. So live player excuse me, live player equals u, and string computer player equals computer. There, I like that better. And then we can, whoops, we can then use these in place of this, and that way we won't accidentally make a spelling mistake and then wonder what the heck's going wrong with our code. All right, live player. So now we'll do model.getPlayer and live player. Great. Now we'll just replace this one, this one, this one, and then we'll do the same thing with our computer player. Great. Oh, and then the score too. Computer player, and then let's do the live player. Okay. All right. Oh, and okay, we have to do it here too, but because we defined these inside main, they're not going to be accessible here. So now we have to take these guys and define them in the at the class level and make them static. And then this will work. All right. Okay, cool. Let's see if we can have any errors anywhere else. Nope. Let's build it. No errors. All right, let's play it. 2, I win. Yes. Ooh. Oh. Okay. All right. Okay, so that's all working now. So far, what have we done? We have definitions for our live player and our computer player. We've got our model that we created up here, and we're creating 2 players for the game, and we basically have all this cool stuff happening. So, all right, let's take it to the next level. And what would that be? What should we do? So obviously we've got the wind state here working in the model. What else can we do? Draw score. You know what? Let's move draw score over to our model, because right now it's all being handled here just in the game, and we moved our scores for the players over to the player. Let's do the same thing with our draw score, and that can go in the model, so that'll make a lot of sense. So okay. So we're going to have to create a variable here for our draw score. Private int draw score, right? And then we just have to go in here and remove it. And then remove that static variable there. And then model dot oh, what do we do? Let's see here. Oh, private. Got to make it public. Draw score there. And then here we're just going to call model dot draw score. Great, let's play it. Oh, static. Oop, I just copied and pasted again. Gotta get rid of that static. There. Okay. Alright. Okay. Oh, I love I win. Let's see if I can win again. Darn it. I'm pick 3 again. Darn it. Okay. Anyway, alright, so let's see here. We're down to 59 lines. We're going to make this even smaller. We're going to be replacing all of this. So we've got the model. We're going to be creating a controller here pretty soon. Or pretty quick. And I think this is looking really good. So I think we're going to end it here. Like I said, we're going to be replacing this with views, and then we're going to create a controller class, which will be controlling all of this logic. And it's going to be really cool. It's going to really show you how you can separate concerns in a program. You can basically give specific classes specific responsibilities. And that way, when something goes wrong, or if you want to change something, or if you want to, enhance something, you know exactly where to go to do that. So, awesome. If you like this video, please like it. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe. There's going to be a lot more coming, as you can see. I've got a lot more topics in C#. We're just on classes, so and then we're going to be applying all of these ideas and principles to other games, and maybe talking a lot about programming concepts and principles. Thank you. Thanks for watching.